Hello and welcome to my presentation on the truths about Indigenous people in Canada. This documentary explores the diversity, resilience, and modern realities of Indigenous communities. Through this presentation, I will highlight the importance of breaking stereotypes and honoring the unique cultures, language, and histories of First Nation, Métis, and Inuit people. And this is the table of content: land acknowledgement, introduction, before colonization, indigenous diversity, colonization and its impact, indigenous people today, rural and urban life, diversity within an indigenous community, modern indigenous life breaking stereotypes, conclusion, respect and understanding, and the last one is credits and acknowledgements. Before starting our documentary, I would like to begin by acknowledging that this presentation was created on the traditional lands of the Kazi, Simihomo, Kwalin, and other Coast Salish people. Nowadays, many people mistakenly believe that all indigenous peoples in Canada share the same culture or live isolated from the modern cities. This documentary challenged those stereotypes by showcasing the rich diversity of First Nation, Métis, and Inuit communities. Today I'm gonna explore their unique tradition, the impact of colonization, and how indigenous people thrive in both rural and urban settings. Before colonization or before the Europeans came, what we know now, Canada was home to over 600 different indigenous nations. Each nation had its own leader, language, and way of living. On the west coast, groups like Hadia and Squamish carved detailed totem poles and held a special potlatch gathering. On the prairies, the Blackfoot and the Cree followed buffalo herds for food and clothing. In the Arctic, the Inuit live in one of the coldest places on Earth, building igloos and hunting seals to survive. These communities were not only living but also trading, making art, sharing stories, and caring for the land that we are living now. This slide shows the amazing variety of the culture that existed long before Canada became a country. Right after European settler came, life has changed a lot for the indigenous people. The new government took their land, stopped them from speaking their language, and forced many children to go to residential schools. In these schools, many children were hurt and were not allowed to follow their cultures. This action caused a lot of pain that still affects indigenous communities today. Many languages were lost, families were broken, and people still fight for their rights and recognition. But even with all these hardships, indigenous people never gave up. They worked hard to keep their traditions alive. Today, many are bringing back their languages, cultures, and self-government. Their strength is one of the most important stories in Canada history. Today, Indigenous people live all across Canada. Some live on reserves where they stay connected to their traditional lands. Others live in small northern towns, keeping their tradition like hunting and fishing alive. But did you know that more than half of Indigenous people now lives in cities in places like Toronto, Vancouver, and Winnipeg? And they work as a teacher, nurses, engineers, and business owner. They may go to the towns, speak their languages at home, or share their culture online. This shows that indigenous identity is not just about the past, it is growing modern and it is full of new opportunities. Indigenous people are not all the same. They have many different cultures, languages, and traditions. The Inuit in Nunavut make their beautiful art, carving soapstones and singing in their special way called throat singing. The Métis, who have both indigenous and European roots, are known for their fiddle music and the Red River Jake dance. On the west coast, groups like the Squamish and Musqueam are known for waving cedar and carving canoes. And the east, the Mi'kmaq have a strong ties to the ocean and the forest. Each group has its own history, ceremonies, and way of living. Understanding this diversity help us learn the real history of indigenous people in Canada. And there is some people still think that indigenous peoples only belong to the past, but that's not true. Today, indigenous people are leaders in many areas like science, politics, sports, and arts. They include astronauts like John Harrington, like the Olympic athletes like Wanik Hornmiller, and like the lawyer Dr. Delia. They also use technology to share their cultures with language, apps, podcasts, and YouTube channel run by indigenous people. This shows their success and prove that indigenous people are not just part of Canada's past; they are helping to shape its future. To build a better Canada, we all need to learn the truth about indigenous people. That means listening to their stories, respecting their rights, and supporting their effort to reclaim their culture. Reconciliation isn't just about saying sorry for the past, it's about working together to justice, equality, and mutual respect. Whether it is learning a few words of an indigenous language, supporting indigenous business, or just being open to new perspective, each of us can play a part. Let's commit to begin to being better allies and building a future where indigenous voices are heard and valued. For the reference, I would like to thank the CBC Radio for the information that provided me, and also I would like to thank this site about the Inuit for the information I get. And for the credits, and special thanks to the indigenous communities, educators, and artists who shared their knowledge for this documentary, and also special thanks to Dr. Dela and Jack Harrington for letting me use them as an examples to breaking the stereotypes. And also a special recognition to the Coast Salish people for their stewardships of the land where this presentation was created.